Hey budget YouTubers, welcome back to what may well be the last bike of 2018. We've done a lot, well I say I've done a lot of bikes this year, far more than I expected to, not as many as I wanted, if truth be told, because I do love my bikes. If you've seen any of my other videos, you know I'm probably more into bikes than I am cars, and this year, for whatever reason, I've managed to pick up some really nice bikes, stuff that I've wanted to try out, a couple I've actually had before in the past and wanted to kind of revisit in that respect. A couple let me down, wasn't what I expected, and a couple did surprise me. Talking of things that surprised me, now I've looked at these Triumph ST Sprint 1050s quite a lot over the last 3 or 4 years, to be fair, because I do like them. They're classed as a sports tourer, and I'm getting to that kind of age now where a sports bike isn't really going to do me any favours when it comes to my back and my neck, my wrists, that kind of stuff. But a sit-up and beg bike like the Speed Triple perhaps is, I don't know, it's a little bit too urban perhaps, you know, a little bit too young for me. So I wanted something in the middle, and this seemed to fit the bill. Now, they do say that the handlebars are a lot higher than they would seem, because I mean, if you look down there, that doesn't look different really to any kind of other sports bike, but it really is. We'll talk about that in a minute. And I wanted to try one out. This one came up, it was quite a way, to be fair. I mean, it's a good 70-80 miles away, but it was at such a price that I thought it was worth going to have a look at it at least. A young lad who'd bought himself a Yamaha Tracer and had this in the past and didn't really have the room in his garage and just decided to sell this one on. It's done a fair few miles, truth be told. I mean, it did something like 12,000 miles in 1 year. So obviously it's been touring. It's been used for what it's meant to be used for, which is, you know, touring around either this country. But with those kind of miles, I would expect it's probably been abroad, probably more than once. Because I mean, 12,000 miles on a bike in 12 months is quite a lot, to be fair. No service history, which is a bit of a pisser. It runs lovely, don't get me wrong. I mean, I rode it back from Wiltshire. It's a good 150 miles the way I went because I got lost. I had to come back through Exeter, that kind of thing. And it rode beautifully, you know, because the wind is kind of against your chest, even though it's got this lovely power bronze black screen on there, which kind of like floats it over you, it still hits your chest a bit, and that kind of raises you up slightly, so you don't feel like you're squashed into the bike. So that was quite nice. And I realised that when I went on a smaller trip the following week, just touring around Cornwall really, and I realised that at slower speeds, like 30-40 miles an hour, it doesn't do that obviously, and it does kind of, you know, niggle on your neck after a while, and that's probably my age. The fact that I don't ride a lot as well, I did mention that in a previous video. The more you ride, obviously, the more muscle memory you get, and it's not such a big issue. But generally speaking, I wouldn't have a problem with taking this on tour. Now, it does come with luggage, which again, we'll talk about in a minute. That was one of the reasons I wanted to get it. And it also, which the guy didn't advertise, comes with these Trident triple exhausts in carbon fibre here, as you can see, which are really nice. I keep saying I'm going to start it up. In fact, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll start it up now, so I don't forget to start it up at the end of the video, because I keep forgetting, and I don't want to do that again in this video. Bear with me a sec, guys. Right. So hopefully you can hear me over that noise, but this Trident exhaust system that is just purely for the Sprint ST is fucking awesome. It really, I mean, it's not so obnoxious that you're going to wake your neighbours up and they're going to get pissed off with you, but it looks lovely with the slash cut and the carbon fibre, and it sounds pretty meaty. And there it is. So I wanted to do that ever so quickly. As I said, because I think the last couple of videos I did say I was going to start the bike up, and I forgot, and I felt bad about it afterwards. So there it is anyway, with the Tridents on. The guy is supposed to be sending me down the original exhaust. I might get a few quid for that, I suppose, I'm not sure. Now, what have I done? Not a great deal, usual stuff. I've done the wheel deal cows as well again, because they're 10 quid. And on a black bike, it just looks so nice. With the 1050 in red, the rear shock in red, and a couple of red accents on the rear wheel here. I just think it sets it off. Black and red is awesome as a colour combination, I think. The front mudguard, when I went to pick it up, it had some really bad lacquer peel just down here and up on the sides there. I tried to fix it, didn't do a great job, but then I found a guy selling, well, he was breaking one of these in the exact same colour on eBay. He said it was in good condition. I ordered it off him for 40 quid. He sent it down and it wasn't in very good condition, truth be told. And as you can see, this part here is snapped off, which holds the bolt on. But as you can see, it's not the same on the other side. And it had various little scratches and bumps and scrapes all over it, which I wasn't overly impressed with, I have to say. But I got hold of him and I said, look, mate, you know, this isn't in good condition. Your interpretation of good condition and mine is obviously vastly different. So he gave me 20 quid partial refund, which I think is kind of fair. So that's that kind of fixed anyway. I have upgraded the lights to 100 watt H7s as well and put a little LED in there as well. I'll whip that on just so you can have a little look if it'll do its thing. There we go. I'd like to get some LEDs in there. I mean, if you join the forums and stuff, you'll see that a lot of people have done that. But it's a bitch to do the high beam, which is right in the centre. Apparently you've got to get the front nose cone off to do that, and I just don't think I can be bothered. As you can see, it has been sitting around for a little while. I mean, I've not used it a great deal in the last couple of weeks. The front discs are starting to get a little bit of rust on them now, but that'll sound off, no problem at all. And underneath here, as you can see, just literally wiping it off brings that up beautiful gold again. It needs a damn good clean, truth be told. It's had a couple of little bumps and scrapes. I mean, somebody's obviously tried to touch up here. This is incredibly common, this little kind of shaft here that goes across here. They tend to snap in the middle, and it looks like this one has had a little repair. No great big issue, if to my mind, really, to be honest. This is something I like as well. The fact that you've got a nice, oh, there's my Red Bull can that I had when I rode back from buying it. And there's the ODB connector down there as well. Nice little pocket to have. You don't really need it when you've got the luggage. Now then, this is a quandary for me as well. I can only assume that this is for the luggage. If you've got one of these and it's got one of those on, then just confirm that for me, because I'm just looking at it and thinking, what the f is that? Now, it could have a tail tidy on there. I suppose you could get away with that, but I don't think it's the kind of bike that really necessarily needs messing about with to make it, you know, more sporty in that respect. It's a tourer, a sports tourer, and it does that job incredibly well. It's got 39,500 miles on it, which is probably the biggest miles I've ever had on a bike. But as I said, almost 12,000 miles of those were in 1 year. So if it's been touring, as long as it's been serviced, it's fine. It did have a big service in March or May, I think, with an oil change. Now, it does make a little bit of a clatter down near the clutch. Now, at 40,000 miles, it could need the clutch looking at, I guess. I might just do a really good oil change on there, you know, use some Castrol Power One Racing and a new filter, see if that quietens things down a bit, because to be quite honest, I've done that in the past. I've used that Castrol Power One Racing when I had clutch judder on a K1200R, and it fixed it. After about 20 or 30 miles after the oil change, the clutch judder disappeared, and you'd think, oh my god, this bike's screwed, but just simply a good oil change and filter obviously fix that. So I think I'm gonna try that with this, because it's only about 30 quid to buy the oil and the filter off eBay anyway, so you know, I might just do that. What else have I done? Not a great deal. I put these clear indicator lenses on because they're horrible orange, as you can probably imagine, out of the shop. Now, I picked those up on AliExpress for 15 quid. If you buy them from Triumph or any of the shops on eBay, they're normally anywhere between 40 and 80 quid. So, AliExpress, 15 quid a pair. If you want to put LEDs in there, bear in mind you will have to upgrade the relay, which isn't a great big job. I did it on the Sprint ST, I think I did, or was it the Triumph Speed Triple? I did it on one of the Triumphs anyway, and it was fine. I think it was the 955 Speed Triple, actually, I did that on. At the moment, I've just got orange normal bulbs in there, so that's fine for me. I mean, I'm not... If I'm honest, I'm probably not going to keep this bike now, because there's a little window of opportunity to sell bikes now. As we've discussed in past videos, we're into September now, so you've probably got a window of opportunity for maybe 4 to 6 weeks before people start thinking about Christmas and know they don't want a new bike, all that kind of stuff, and it makes things a little bit tougher to do, as in to sell. So I'm probably going to market this relatively quickly, just to get my money back. I've had a really nice time on it. I've now decided, I think this is one of the bikes that's made me decide that a sports tour is probably going to be the way for me to go. I have been looking at a Ducati Multistrada 1200S, because they've tumbled in price now as well. Now they're a few years old. You can get a 2010 for about £5 grand. A lot of money, don't get me wrong, a lot of money, but this whole series of videos was all about testing out stuff and finding out what suits me best. And if I was going to choose a bike, I'd like to have a go at least on the Ducati Multistrada. I love my Ducatis, my big old V twins. I don't like the maintenance costs, the Desmo services, that kind of stuff. I don't like the electrical problems, but they're just an awesome bike, aren't they? I'd like to get myself a Diavel, but they're still £8,000, and there's no way I can do that. Anyway, going back to this Luggage, as you can see, it's proper Triumph luggage that came with the bike. It's all right. I mean, these plastic parts here in the front, they are actually interchangeable. You can put different colours on, which it'd be quite nice to get some different colours on there. I mean, I wouldn't change the colour personally. There was a little scratch, I think, on one of them down here. Now, I ordered some touch-up paint, and I kind of dealt with that, and there was a tiniest little mark on the tank. Talking of the tank, I did buy a new tank protector. Then I realised that this is actually a proper Triumph one in carbon fibre. Now, this is proper carbon fibre. This isn't just a stick-on kind of carbon fibre effect thing. This is proper job, and it's moulded to the shape of this tank. But somebody had put X amount of stickers all over it to kind of keep it in place, and it lifted and it looked shit. So I took it off, put my new one on, didn't like it, spent a day cleaning up, literally a day cleaning this up with all sorts of solvents and stuff to get rid of all the shit that was underneath it. Got some new 3M tape, put it all around here and stuck it back down, and I think it looks fine. I do have a cover for this, but for once I don't actually think it needs it. I probably just leave it as it is. I bought a cover for here as well, a guy called Jeff off eBay, MotoFix I think his website is, they're a tenner. And it's also got heated grips, which I've never really liked heated grips on a bike. I like all these little bloody wires that dingle dangle all over the shop, they kind of piss me off a little bit, but they're very useful. On the way back from Wiltshire I actually did use them and they helped a lot, but I don't like all these wires everywhere. I mean, why that's been run underneath here and then back around into here is beyond me, because it fucks up the pass thingy. Would I bother trying to get that off? I mean, the problem is it's all stuck into here, as you can see. So to get that off, I mean, why they did that is just fucking beyond me. I mean, whoever put these on needs a good slap. But they're very useful to have. Now, Luggage couldn't be simpler. You literally, doesn't matter which side you go on, you literally just lift these up, and then if I can get this right, hopefully you can see that, you clip them in basically, and there's one side, and then once you've clipped them in, the handle then becomes the locking mechanism, as it were. Let me just get that into place. Right, there you go. What you do then is you get the key, you put the key in, you twist it, you push that handle down, that locks everything into place basically on both sides. And because it's matching luggage, I don't think it looks too bad. I hate top boxes. You may know that I can't abide top boxes. I think they look fucking shit on a nice bike, personally, excuse my language. But if you want side panniers and a top box and a tank pad and all that, a tank bag rather, get a car. You know, I just all that kind of luggage is just, no, it's not for me. But, you know, if that's your kind of thing, then I won't slag you off too much. It's just, I don't like to spoil the looks of a beautiful bike with all that luggage on there. If you want to tour it, doesn't matter what. If you're going to go 2,000-3,000 miles on a bike, as long as the bike's reliable, it doesn't matter what it is it? What's the point in spending 10 grand on a beautiful looking bike if you're going to cover it in luggage? I don't get it. But, as I said, this actually doesn't look too bad, as you can see, with the luggage on, because it's colour-coded. And it almost like the Ducati Multistrada 1200, it kind of angles down nicely as well, so it doesn't look too out of place. Anyway, I'll leave those on there for a minute. As I said, also I'm going to probably sell this on, because although I've decided I like the style of the bike, I don't think this is the one for me. It's done too many miles, there's not enough history. I'm going to put it up for sale, but if it doesn't sell before Christmas, I'm not that worried, because that will give me a chance to do a couple of things, because the 1050 engine, generally speaking, comes in black on the naked bikes. Now on these, as you can see, it doesn't come in black, and also, as you can see in there, it's looking a bit bloody ropey. Now that's purely because they haven't painted it or lacquered it. Now if I decide to keep this, or if I can't sell it, and there you go, you can see down in there as well, hopefully, and a little bit just underneath there. If I decide to keep this, or I have to keep this for whatever reason, it's not going to be the end of the world. I won't cry about it. All I'll do is I'll take off all the retaining bolts for the fairing, lower fairing as it were, on both sides, and I'll paint the engine. You can just use silver hammerite or black hammerite or whatever you like. I mean, I'm not sure what colour I'd go for. Black would obviously look a lot less conspicuous, as it were, because the engine is actually supposed to be black, but you would have to get that fairing off to get in there and give it a good old paint job, and I think that would enhance it massively, because, as I said, if you look in there again, it's just looking a bit tired, isn't it? But that's 40,000 miles, probably all over Europe, with no kind of paint protection on, because there was no paint on there. For whatever reason, they decided the naked bikes obviously would be painted and lacquered, the engines, and the fairinged ones wouldn't, although you can actually still see the engine, which, I don't know, cost cutting, lazy, it's a bad idea in my experience, or my opinion rather, because it's lazy. I mean, why? It couldn't have cost that much more, surely, to paint that engine like you do the Speed Triple 1050. So why didn't you? Just because there's a cover over it? There's not enough of a cover over it, you can still see it, and so when it starts degrading like that, that's a bit shit, to be honest. The hanging gear, the rear wheel guards, that kind of stuff, it's alright, I suppose, you know, there's nothing major going on down there, not like there was on the Speed Triple 955i, not to the point where I'd get it powder coated anyway, it seems fine. So that's about it, really. I did do one little thing which I'll mention now, because I've had to do that a couple of times. They tend to do that on these Triumphs, and that's the rear hub down here. I gave that a lick of satin Amorite paint because it was chipping off. They all do it every single time. The Daytona, the Sprint ST, the Speed Triple 955 and the 1050, this one, they all do it. The single-sided swing arms, they all chip off that paint off the hub there. I don't know why, just shit paint again, I guess. They're not renowned for their paint, are they? And I've just noticed as well here, that's not perfect, is it? Interesting. Anyway, it looks great naked. Well, not naked, it looks great without the luggage, and it looks great with the luggage, in my opinion, and it's made me decide that either something like this, or even another one of these, because I love it in blue, with lower miles and full service history, again with the luggage and that beautiful Trident exhaust system. If I could do that, I might do that, because this one came in relatively cheap, because of the miles, I guess, and the guy had to get rid of it, so, you know, happy days for me, because I get something that I feel is a reasonable price and I can move on. He gets some money and some space in his garage in that respect, and I get some luggage, and I had a really nice experience riding back. You know, it was a good 130, 150 miles, something like that. I didn't check, to be honest, because I got lost and I got frustrated, and if you've done that, you'll know how annoying that can be. But generally speaking, I really like the bike. I like the way it sounds, I like the way it rides, I love the triple engine, generally speaking. I'm going to try to do an oil change to quieten down that little bit of clutch clatter, or I'll just sell it on to somebody who has got more experience in these kind of things and can maybe do them themselves. If you've got any questions, drop it in the comments as always. If you have got one of these, and there's something I've mentioned that you can enlighten me on, then that'd be great as well. Any suggestions at all? I mean, as I said before in previous videos, you know, when you leave comments, it shows me people are watching and taking notice, and that's kind of cool. It inspires me to kind of make more videos. It annoys me when people put dislikes or unlikes on the videos, you know. I mean, when I put a video up a couple of weeks ago on the Speed Triple 1050, within about an hour somebody put an unlike on there, and I'm like, well, what's to unlike? What did I do that annoyed you that much that you felt the need to put an unlike on there? Because quite frankly, it's not soul destroying per se, but you just think, well, is it worth me doing any more, you know? And if it carries on like that, then I might just say screw it and stop doing them, you know, because I'm not doing it to make money. I'm just doing it for a little bit of fun and to share with you guys my thoughts on bikes, generally speaking. And as I said, this will probably be the last bike of the year, I imagine, because by the time this video goes out, it'll probably be October, I would think, because I've got a couple more videos to put through as well. Which hopefully you've watched. So as I said, this will probably be the last bike of 2018. You never know though, there might be another one. Keep an eye out, subscribe if you haven't subscribed, because there might be a surprise in store. But that's it for now. I'm going to go off into, well, it's not a glorious day per se, but it's alright, I suppose, compared to the last 4 weeks of August. So I'm done, and as I said, if you've got any questions, any comments, any suggestions, stick it in the comments down below, and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already subscribed. Alright, take care now.